Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Kickback Pod. I am your host, Josh Dominic, aka JD.
And I'm Fabian Gorsler, your co host. We are doing this second episode remote in Berlin, actually, because I'm going to be gone for a few weeks and we're trying to test this whole can we record a podcast in two different places kind of thing.
Tell the world where you're going, man.
I mean, if everything goes to plan, Corona tests, regulations, all that kind of stuff, my girlfriend and I are going to the Canary Islands for 3 weeks and we're hoping that everything works out next week and we can fly. So yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too. We will still be recording a pod even while you guys are mid vacation.
Yeah, and I mean, you said you might be going somewhere as well, right?
Yeah. Well, I had plans to go to Portugal, Madeira. Turns out that there is a variant of the COVID virus over there right now, and pretty much travel is banned for anyone
Oh,
going from Portugal to Germany. So it looks like I need to come up with a plan B. Good thing I didn't buy any tickets or anything yet. But anyways, yeah, we both got plans, I guess, next month to do a bit of traveling. Uh, and you know what? Our listeners probably don't want to just keep hearing about our travel plans.
no, let's get
So
into it. Let's
let's,
talk about sneakers.
yeah, let's get into the sneakers. I wanted to say, first of all, thank you guys so much for all the feedback on episode 1. Got a lot of great feedback on Instagram, on YouTube as well. And yeah, shout out to you guys for taking the time, listening to us, checking us out. Appreciate that. And the podcast is now officially available on Spotify as well as Apple Music and Deezer, right?
Yeah, Deezer and I think one or two others that I don't think anybody uses anyway. So the big ones are Apple and Spotify. So if you guys have an account there, we're live there. You just have to search the kickback or head to our Instagram and the link is in the bio.
Right. And a couple of you guys have also asked me to upload the pod to YouTube because that is the place where you guys mainly listen to pods. So I will be uploading it to my YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/Josh Dominic. So look out for that. Yeah. So in this pod, so last week we talked about the main big topic we talked about was how to start a sneaker collection. Our big topic for this week will be sneaker budgeting.
Yep.
There's a lot of sneakers dropping every month. How do we budget for them? And of course, we're gonna get into some of the hottest sneaker topics in the last few weeks, as well as the hottest upcoming sneakers in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, let's just kick it off, man. Like if we're going to start talking about the last 2 weeks, the absolute number one biggest topic, let's get into it. What happened with the trophy rooms, man? Tell me.
Oh man. I mean, I there's all rumors, right? There's nothing that's been confirmed, but I wrote a piece for Highsnobiety and Brendan Dunn wrote a really good piece for Complex too, with a lot of inside sources, unnamed sources too, who spoke on the release. And basically, what happened was, the Trophy Room Air Jordan 1. Trophy Room, first of all, is a retailer owned by Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son, and Trophy Room collaborates with Jordan Brand every year on a special edition Jordan. This year it was an Air Jordan 1, limited to 12,000 pairs worldwide. All or almost all 12,000 pairs were supposed to drop through Trophy Room. And it felt like every single pair that Trophy Room had was backdoored. Backdooring means, selling through the back door before the release, either for resale prices or to resellers who buy in bulk. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even try and cop, but Josh, you said you tried to cop, or at least were online during this whole thing, and you saw the reactions online, right? What were people saying?
They left the back door slightly ajar. Let's just say it that way. It seems like at least half of the stock was backdoored because we saw pictures of people prior to the release with hundreds of pairs. I know Benjamin Kicks, he had
Yep.
about like it looked like he had like 500 pairs. um yeah, and of course, like sneaker community is super pissed off considering that this release was only supposed to be 12,000 pairs in total, and about 6,000 of them, more than 6,000, were not available for the general public. So obviously people pissed off, and even those remaining 6,000 on the day of the release, there was like a 1 hour window to enter a raffle, and the website basically completely crashed.
Yeah.
You couldn't even enter the raffle if you tried.
Yeah, I
And
heard that they did like an old school email raffle where you had to send an email to
no,
an
no, that was the backup option. So
right,
initially
and
there
that
was a
crashed too.
yeah, exactly. Like people were sending emails and they were getting bounce backs.
Mm-hmm.
the
Because
the
the mailbox
inbox
was full.
the
Yeah.
mailbox was full. Exactly. So it was just an absolute shit show. The raffle. I couldn't even get an entry in. So yeah, definitely not too happy about it. I mean, I wasn't really trying to cop the shoe for personal, like just my opinion. It's not that nice of a shoe, but definitely people were pissed off. And uh, it seems like the number one reason people were pissed off the most, of course, was backdooring, which I personally don't understand too much because it's nothing new, right? Like there's been backdooring since the dawn of sneakers, or not just in sneakers, like pretty much anything that has like a high demand. Like there's a lot of backdooring going on. That's just like that's just the way things work in this, like, I guess, capitalistic type of society. Like things are going to work that way. um I think like one thing I just wanted to clarify that it seems like a lot of people don't understand this. Like when backdooring happens, it doesn't mean that these guys who got 600 pairs, uh, they're not getting it for retail. Like they are more than likely paying a very high premium to, in this case, Trophy Room, in order to get those shoes. So they didn't get all 500 of those pairs for retail. They probably paid maybe up to 1,000 a pair. Who knows? But that's usually how backdooring works. Like you
Right.
pay a pretty
It's
significant.
usually a price between the resale value and the retail value, right? So that the
Exactly.
retailer makes more than they would have had they sold it at retail, and the
Right.
person buying in bulk can then flip them and also make some money. So everybody's kind of making more money.
Yeah, exactly. Like so everyone wins at the end. And I guess what kind of shocked me the most about it was the fact that it was Trophy Room who did this. Like especially considering, the ties to Michael Jordan. We got Michael Jordan's son running the store. So I guess that kind of was a bit surprising to me. It doesn't seem like a place that is struggling financially or anything like that. So I mean, I don't know what exactly happened there, but
Yeah,
but
I think definitely that makes it a little, I guess, shadier or sketchier. I know that the complex article went into detail about how, there are people at Jordan Brand who, know what happened, or, know that it might have happened, but because he's MJ's son, nobody really wants to rock the boat or say anything. Um, of course, Marcus Jordan denies it, says that it never happened. That the release was fair, that the pairs people are flaunting or were flaunting before or just after the release are all fake. That obviously can be the case, but a lot of people are saying that it's probably not. I mean, you can't really get your hands on that many fakes
yeah, that's
around the release that quickly.
yeah, and it's not exactly the easiest shoe to produce fakes of. Like it's a shoe that has like some kind of icy detailings on it with the
Hmm.
like it's the type of shoe that I think if you had a fake pair, you could easily tell it's a fake compared to a real pair.
Right.
So
I guess. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I don't know if I so much believe Marcus Jordan's story there, but I wasn't necessarily like angered by the whole thing. It's just, I guess it's just something you come to expect with most sneaker releases nowadays.
Yeah, I think it also is more obvious this time around because all or 95% of the pairs were supposed to be sold through one retailer. So when there is
Mm.
backdooring, it's a little more obvious than, say, the off-white Jordan 4s. That released at like 70 plus retailers, and if some of them are doing backdooring for smaller amounts, it's not as obvious as if 6 to 8,000 pairs or whatever the number was in the end are backdoored from a single store. um yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate. I mean, at the end of the day, these shoes are supposed to go to people that want them. And I think there's a big difference between, kid getting lucky, winning a raffle and then flipping his, and a reseller like Benjamin Kicks coming in, buying 500 pairs and then selling them all for twice or three
Yeah.
times as much as what he paid and just making a lot of money. At the end of the day, it's just unfair. It's unfortunate, but it's kind of lame.
I would love to know what exactly does Nike or Jordan Brand do to kind of stop this? Like, do they have some kind of like checks in place? Maybe they send mystery shoppers or something to these stores, and I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing because like I was thinking of it this way. Like when it comes to backdooring, I think it's much more likely to happen, especially in smaller like boutique stores. Like this happens. I know this happens a lot in skate shops. Like skate shops are a pretty niche market. They don't have like a wide customer base. Then it's a business you get into for the love of skateboarding. This
Right.
is these aren't exactly stores that are just making tons of money throughout the year. And then all of a sudden, a sneaker release comes along where these items can resell for 10 times what they are selling it for. Like, I mean, in these kind of situations, I totally understand why some of these skate shops will want a back door. You know, you can make like your quarterly revenue targets, you know, in it with just one release.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I kind of I understand why that happens. I just wonder what exactly are the brands doing in order to kind of stop that from happening. They must know that this happens.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's super hard to prove, right? The
Yeah.
resellers will say like, yeah, we got it from the store. The store will say no, we didn't sell it to them. Um, Obviously at the end of the day there is a paper trail and the brands probably could follow up on it, but I think brands will not want it to get as much backlash as it's getting. So I think as long as it's happening and nobody's really upset about it, like they were with the trophy room release, then it's okay. Or not okay, but the brands will kind of close an eye to it, or kind of, or they just won't know what's going on. Like I said, when it's a big release with multiple retailers, it's hard to control everyone. So I think as much as the brands could do something about it, at the end of the day it falls, in my opinion, on the retailer to just be fair, and to try and at least make a fair release out of it, or be open about it, and say, you know what, half of the stock is going to loyal customers who've spent $200 with us in the last year. I don't think anybody would begrudge kind of somebody who goes to this store regularly and buys and supports the store financially throughout the year for non-hype releases, to then have a better chance of getting a hyped shoe. I think that's a totally valid way of doing it. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think releases are so murky nowadays. It's hard to kind of tell who is at fault for what. And like I said, it's super hard to kind of follow any trail there, or any trail of evidence.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that that one method of prioritizing your loyal customers, yeah, I think that's a pretty fair way to do it, and most people wouldn't really complain about that.
Yeah. But speaking of crazy releases, right? We had so obviously the trophy room, another Jordan release. We had the Carmine sixes drop, and a video went viral of, I don't know
Yeah,
where it was. I think it was in New York or somewhere in America, where a bunch of, I guess, sneakerheads, kids, kind of were storming the front of a store. I think it was maybe a Foot Locker. I could be wrong though. And they're just kind of running over each other, some wearing masks, some not wearing masks. And I asked myself, like, who's running a first come, first serve in store release during a pandemic? Like, how irresponsible is that?
yo, I mean, yeah, there was a lot wrong with that video, and I also don't know where exactly in the states that was. But that's nuts. Like, why are in-store releases still happening right now? I know that in the U.S. there are some states that are pretty lax about restrictions. There aren't that many cases or whatnot, but still, like, it was insane to see that happening in 2021.
Yeah.
And also the other thing, okay, pandemic or no pandemic, why are people acting like this? Especially like I would get it if it was okay, like the panda pigeons, not the pandas, the pigeon dunks or whatever, you know, like
Right.
5,000 pairs worldwide. I get why people would act like that. But we're talking about like a GR Jordan 6 that is currently reselling for $30 above retail or $40 above retail. Like, are people really trampling each other to make like an extra $30? Like, I don't know what's like, is it really worth it, guys?
I mean,
Like,
I'm not a big fan of sixes anyway. And I think, like, I know there's a lot of, it was the Carmine six with the Nike Air on the heel. I get that. But personally not a fan of sixes, personally not a fan of red and white shoes, in that kind of color blocking. I think you're right. I mean, pandemic or no pandemic, like a stampede like that is stupid, is irresponsible. I think the store should have done, again, the retailer should have done more to kind of keep people safe. And it doesn't matter what shoe it is. There's no shoe where you should put your own health or those around you at risk just to get a shoe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, well, I definitely think at the very least for public health and safety, you shouldn't be having in-store releases right now.
Yeah.
There was another in-store release for those New Balances, the Paperboy New Balances
Hmm.
992s, I think.
In
Uh,
Paris or?
yeah. There was a Paris in-store only release, which a lot of people were confused about because many people wanted that pair, including myself.
Hmm.
But that was also a Paris in-store only release, and I just don't get it. Like, why are stores doing in-store releases right now? It's no disregard for public safety, in my opinion.
Yeah, or just I mean, do an in-store release, but handle it better. You know, do like yeah, do like a online raffle for in-store pickup, for example, or something like that. Not an in-store raffle or an in-store lineup or something like that. I don't know how the Paperboy release went down, but from the videos I saw about the Carmine release, just bad planning, you know, bad planning and no kind of foresight or oversight for that matter. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's insane. And really, I don't know once again why people are jumping over each other for a shoe that is very widely available. But yeah, I mean that's the way things are now.
for sure. So,
Oh,
shall we talk about what we copped in the last couple weeks?
wait.
Because
There was
I
actually there was one more topic. I wrote it down, but I forgot to talk about it in the
okay.
pre-production. Did you see the leaks of those Travis fragments?
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
see that?
I saw
And
them. The I mean, they're like the fragment color blocking with the reverse Travis swoosh, right?
yeah, and yeah, exactly. And what did you think?
Not a fan. I think it's too much, honestly. Like fragment Jordan, sure. If you must. Travis Scott Jordan, obviously super hyped. Not really for me, but you know what, super hyped. But it just feels kind of like they're playing collaboration bingo and they're like, okay,
This
let's put as many big names together as possible. You know, take the most hyped silhouette, take the most hyped musician and creative right now, and take a pretty hyped Japanese designer and put it all together and see what happens. It just seems it's almost like a fake you would buy on a market, you know?
that is exactly what I thought too. This looked like a fake, and it just feels so unnecessary. Like no one asked for this collab.
No,
And it just also just seems so unorganic. Like, what does Travis Scott have to do with Fragment?
right,
Like
exactly.
why did I think his name is Hiroshi
Hiroshi Fujiwara.
Fujiwara, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why did Hiroshi even agree to this? First of all, we don't know if this is an official sneaker. We just saw Travis rocking a pair. We don't know
Mm-hmm.
if this is in the works or anything. It could have been a custom. Who knows? But why would Hiroshi sign off on this? Has he ever like met Travis? What is the connection here? Like, I have no idea. This is such a forced collab, putting all that aside too, I think it's an ugly sneaker. Like, it does not look good at all. This is just a pure hype sneaker, but not something I want to be adding to my own collection, that's for sure.
No, I think also like the reverse swoosh was cool when it started, but it's been done on so many Travis sneakers now, right? So I think it's getting a bit tired, that design, and the color blocking is the same as the fragment ones, I believe, that already released.
Yeah,
So it's literally just taking an existing sneaker, flipping the swoosh, or like putting two existing sneakers together, and that's it. You know, there's no like
yeah,
if you had told me like you know that they were big fans of each other and they really wanted to work on something together, but they wanted it to be fresh and new, then like do it on a new silhouette or a new model or something like that, or with a new colorway or a new design feature, like a like not a reverse swoosh, something else. But yeah, like you said, it's just tired, kind of lazy, and
super
it'll sell
lazy.
out. It'll sell out because it'll be super hype, but it's not a great shoe, I think. From what
Yeah,
I've seen, they're very blurry images, right?
it's boring. Like if these two guys are gonna come together, I would expect something a little better than that. That this was a pretty boring, unoriginal sneaker, in my
Yeah,
opinion, as well.
for sure. Super boring. So then let's talk about what you've caught, because I know that you
Yeah.
have
So
had some
so
very unboring cops.
yeah, I know, definitely. So this is also just for the people listening. We're gonna start doing this on every pod as well. Both me and Fabian, like, we're, I guess, blessed to be able to just cop a lot of sneakers throughout the week. So we'll do a quick recap of what we copped in the last 2 weeks. in between pods. And I copped a ton of sneakers actually in the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, there were about like 12 boxes that showed up at my door.
Oh,
But
geez.
I'm just gonna talk about two of them. So the first one I got, well, it's only Fabian can see it right now on the
Very
Zoom, but
nice.
it's basically the neutral gray ones. Um, this was a sneaker that at the start of the year I absolutely knew I had to get no matter what. And
Hmm.
I was kind of preparing for it. I knew I would take an L. Like there's only 23,000 pairs worldwide. I did take an L, so I ended up copying it off StockX. These came in yesterday, and yeah, I love them, man. Like the colorway is just super nice. It does feel really weird on feet. It doesn't feel like any other Jordan 1.
Like in a
It's
good way or a bad way?
in a bad way, and like
Okay.
it's very uncomfortable.
Huh.
The leather is extremely stiff, so it's not. And apparently the leather is very similar to the 1985 Jordans. It feels like a 1985 shoe, like for real. It's really uncomfortable, and that when you're
Maybe you have to
walking.
like break it in or something like that,
Yeah. I was talking to some guys over at Soulbox. Shout out to Massimo and Chris over there at Soulbox. They were basically giving me tips on what to do, and they said basically if you take a wet towel and you kind of put it like on top of your toes, and then like wear the shoes with the wet towel on your toes, that will basically like soften up the leather, and it won't be like kind of digging into your toes with every step. So I'm gonna try that. I haven't tried that yet,
That's
but
like a real sneakerhead insider tip right there.
yeah, definitely like that. Like when they were saying that to me, I was like, "What? Okay." But I'm gonna try that for sure because this is definitely a sneaker I know I'm gonna get a ton of use out of. Like I know like Jordan 1s are getting so played out now. We're getting different colorways every week, but this is like the Jordan 1, like in my opinion, like because you can wear this with anything. Like this is just a super clean colorway.
Hmm.
We haven't seen this colorway since 1985, and I think they did a great job. I think the leather quality is also really good. It is a bit stiff, but needs some breaking into. And the other sneaker, which I just copped literally 2 hours ago, is this these are the Curry Dunks. So
Oh,
or,
nice.
or they're called like the medium Curry Dunks,
Medium curry, yeah.
the medium Curry Dunks, and man, these are just so nice, so nice. Like the quality is so nice, the suede is really good, and of course, like the colorway is just a banger, man. Like brown shoes right now, super popular.
Hmm.
And I know we've been getting a lot of dunks, but in my opinion, this is probably the nicest dunk I've seen since maybe even the plums that came out last year.
Yeah.
In terms of quality, in terms of the colorway, this is just a very nice pair of shoes. Yeah, the like this like if this was like a real curry, like this wouldn't be like a butter chicken. This is like a chicken tikka masala. This
Oh,
is like a
wow. Okay.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like this is the good stuff.
The
This is
good
this is
shit.
this is Steph Curry, not Seth Curry.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Shots
no
fired.
no disrespect to Seth, but I mean like this is the good stuff, man.
No, for sure. I think that that dunk low is one of the best general release dunks we've had, SB or not, right? In a long time, in my opinion. I think obviously like a lot of the collaborations were really on point as well over the last like 18 months. But in terms of general release shoes, that one just looks really nice,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
it you can dress well with it too, because it's got that like kind of beige, tan, brown with like white base, just really nice.
Yeah, no, they did a great job on this one.
Nice. And yeah, so I didn't get 12 pairs of shoes this week or the last 2 weeks, but I got one that is really cool. It's a little different to, my usual pickups. It's the Soland Leaning Shadow,
I
which
I
yeah,
saw that
I
on
don't
your
know if you saw.
Instagram. I
Yeah.
saw that on your Instagram. That very futuristic looking shoe.
So let me tell you, it's like walking on clouds. And I know people say that about Boost, they say that about
Yeah.
React, but this shoe is like if Boost had Boost, like it's so good. I
What?
it's so comfortable. Like there's probably like 2 inches of like this soft foam. It's a running shoe, right? And it honestly feels like you're walking on clouds. Like it's also a really interesting futuristic design. It's got this like velcro kind of semi translucent cover that you can like put over the laces, so you hide the laces, and it's got this like really cool grip on the outsole. So if you're, I think it's like if you're running, it's not like a trail running shoe, but it's probably more than a road running shoe. So you have some better grip on there too. Um, but it's almost too nice to take running. I really want to test it out just because it's so comfortable, but I also don't want to destroy the shoes by running in them. Um,
Dude,
and you know, like,
you're like selling me on it. Like now I want a copper pair, like
no,
twice as good
honestly,
as Boost. Like
it's so like
that's
honest,
a
like
crazy endorsement.
when I put these on, it was like when I put Boost shoes on back in like what was it, 2013, 2014 for the first time, and I was like, whoa, what is this? Now I put this on knowing what Boost feels like, and I was like, whoa, what is this? So
Damn.
so good. And I think the guys over at Solan did a really good job, because Li Ning is obviously known for like a lot of crazy designs, a lot of kind of out there, mind-blowing, eye-catching designs, sometimes also being eye-catching just for the sake of being eye-catching. But I think that, you know, Solan and Li Ning chose this silhouette and really pared it down and made it mind-blowing in the right way, if that makes sense. It's like not too crazy, so you feel comfortable wearing it because you don't feel like you've got these spaceships on your feet, even though they are spaceships, you know.
I would now I'm gonna definitely cop a pair, man. You sold me on it.
Do it.
I've never actually owned a pair of leanings, and yeah, some of these designs like the recently I think, oh wait, no, that never mind. I'm thinking of Anta. There was this Anta collab with Salehi Bembry, right?
I mean,
Uh
Chinese shoes in general, like they kind of they're just pushing the boundaries, and they're doing stuff just to be different and better almost than the Western brands. So it's interesting
yeah.
seeing like what's coming out in China. But yeah, that's probably the only one that I've picked up in the last couple of weeks that's worth talking about. I have a couple other packages on the way that will hopefully arrive before I go on holiday. One from Amsterdam and one from LA. But maybe I'll talk about
Ah,
those in the next podcast episode. So
so
if you want to know what I get, tune in a couple weeks.
okay, the Amsterdam one, probably the Patas.
Yes, the
Yeah,
Pata New Balances. I can't wait
yeah,
to get my
okay.
hands on those.
Oh
Shout
no,
out
dude,
Lee
that's
for hooking it up. Yeah, I'm really excited for those.
yeah, that colorway is hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, so and I guess let's might as well let's get into the big topic of the pod. So yeah, we talked about last week starting a sneaker collection. How do you actually now budget for sneakers? And I mean, like, first of all, budgeting for sneakers, it's different for everybody. Like some people have like ridiculous budgets for sneakers. I
Hmm.
actually had a subscriber of mine like DM me a while back asking me if like, and this guy was like 16 years old, and he was asking me, hey, do you think paying 1,200 is okay for a pair of the Habibi Dunks?
Oh
And like
man.
I was like, dude, like when I was 16, like $1,200, that would be like 3 months of working at my part-time job, you
Damn, that's
know?
a lot of money.
Like,
Even now,
yeah.
like I don't know if I would spend 1,200 on a pair of
Yeah, I know, I
shoes,
know, I
you
know.
know?
Yeah, so I mean, like budgeting is obviously different for everybody, but I guess I can just kind of say the way I do it. So,
Right, yeah.
I guess now we know well ahead of time, like what sneakers are going to release, when they're going to release. Brands leak images like months in advance, and the way I do it is like I look at all the releases in the upcoming month, for example, and I will like hand pick like one or two that I'm like, okay, these for sure I gotta have. Like I'm gonna add them to my collection, and I kind of start budgeting for them, like just imagining that I'm gonna take an L on them. So because like nowadays, like who gets stuff for retail anyways? Like it's super hard. So
Yeah.
I kind of budget for what the resale price is gonna be, and the things I kind of do in order to allow myself to buy that sneaker is I will first of all like look at my current collection, and I'll see like, okay, is there anything I'm really not wearing anymore? And what can I kind of sell right now
Hmm.
to make room for this new sneaker? And that's pretty much like just kind of like a rule I have, like
Like a one
one
in, one out.
one in, one out once I reach a certain amount of sneakers, which I already have. So I always kind of do one in, one out. And that way, like what I find myself is like at the end of the year, I typically don't actually spend any money on sneakers because I made all of that back just from getting rid of other sneakers.
Right.
So that's kind of how I do it. But uh, the other thing really important to remember, in my opinion, is that every single month, and not just every single month, every single week, it seems like there's a new sneaker dropping that you absolutely need to have. You
Yeah.
know, like at least that's the way it gets pushed to you. You know, like it gets pushed to you on Instagram. You log in, every sneaker account you follow, every Instagram influencer you follow is like wearing that sneaker, and you feel like you need it. But
Hmm.
the truth is, you don't really need every single sneaker that drops every single week. So that's why, going back to what I said earlier, like at the start of the month, I look at like one or two pairs I absolutely need to have, and these are the sneakers I'm gonna have. If during the month, let's say I win some raffles on some other pairs that I kind of didn't really want, I just unexpectedly, won a raffle on it, I'll sell those shoes. Like I'm not ashamed to say that I'll sell shoes, so that now I know like I have more money to buy this one shoe I do actually want. That's what I did this year with the neutral grays. Like I bought it off StockX. Like I paid like 550 euros or something for it.
Hmm.
But I mean, like I made up that pretty much. I made up even more of that back by selling other stuff that I won. Like I won some raffles on some other sneakers, and I also sold. I sold my pure platinum Dunk Highs, which is like a really similar colorway to this. I sold that to kind of make room for this. So I mean, that's the way I do it. So, what about you, Fabian?
Well, I mean, but before I get into like what I do, I think also to kind of put it into perspective, right? You do a lot of reviews on shoes, right? So a
Yep.
lot of the time you're also buying them for your own channel so that you can make content. So you're a content creator. So that's a little different, right? Like I think other people who might not have their own YouTube channel or whatever, one, two, three, a quarter is even enough sometimes. It really depends. It's all relative. Like the way I do it is quite similar to the way you do it. I look at like what shoes I really want and then I focus on those in that month. But I almost never pay resale for shoes. If I miss a
Hmm.
shoe, I miss a shoe. And that's okay because I know, like you said, next week there's going to be another one that I
Yeah.
fall in love with, quote unquote. Um, and so that's kind of how it's developed over the last few years. There's so many releases and quite a lot of good releases too, that it's almost deterred at least people like me from paying resale because you can just say if you have the the self-control, you can say, okay, fine, I didn't get these shoes, I'll just wait, and it's a personal choice for everyone, right? But you can say, fine, I'll just wait next week and there's another shoe, or next month or in 2 months there's another really big release that I want to get. Or even if it's not a big release, you can then get a shoe that isn't as hype because it's then easier to get. But in terms of like monetary value, like how much to spend on shoes, I think everyone kind of needs to decide for themselves. I think it needs to be, within reason. Like if you have $500 on your account, you shouldn't be spending $200 to $300 on shoes, right? I think, I don't know, was it like Jay-Z who said like if you can't buy it 4 times, you can't afford it, something like that, right? If
Yeah.
you, yeah, like if you buy something and then you're kind of eating beans and toast for the rest of the week, then you probably shouldn't spend that much money on shoes, and that's totally fine, or if and some of the shoes are getting so expensive nowadays. Like why does why does an ISPA Nike shoe have to cost, what was it, like $450 or euros?
Oh
That's a
yeah.
right, like the split toe one,
Yeah.
that
No, that was insane. That was
that
insane.
costs almost 500 euros, and it was an in-house Nike release. It's ridiculous. Why? Yeah, I just don't understand it anymore.
I mean, Yeezy brand is probably even worse with that. Like, I know they recently brought down the price point of the 700 V1. It used to be
Yeah.
$300, and it was $300 for a few years. And I thought that was insane. Like 300
Hmm.
retail for a pair
Yeah.
of
I think
shoes.
it's like 230 now or 220, or they brought it down
To
quite
240, 240.
240, but they brought it down like quite significantly. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Which
even
is
at
still a lot.
240, it's still a lot.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, 240,
that's a
that's a
high
lot of money.
retail. Of
That's what
course.
I spend on food, like groceries for the month, like
Yeah.
just to put it into perspective, like shoes are expensive. Even
No, there's no
150,
doubt. There's no doubt.
$150, 150 euros for a pair of shoes. And I think also like anyone listening, and you as well, I mean, we'll all agree that we probably all have too many shoes and buy too many shoes too, just as well. Like it's hard for me as well from like a sustainability standpoint too, like this constant consumption stuff, it's not sustainable. So like that's where I struggle personally sometimes, where I say, you know what, fine, then, I'll miss this release, or, I'll enjoy the shoe on Instagram, or I'll enjoy it digitally by just looking at it and seeing other people enjoy it. Um, but yeah, I think everyone kind of has to decide for themselves, and you should never really overextend yourself financially just for shoes, because at the end of the day, they're just shoes, man. And if you have a pair of shoes that fit your feet, that don't have any holes in them, then that's really enough. Obviously,
Yeah.
obviously, like, enjoying shoes is a little different. You want to have a little bit more. You want to grow your collection. That's totally fine too. Just don't ever put yourself, in financial trouble because of sneakers. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that personal rule you have, which is that you never pay resale for a
I
pair of
mean,
shoes. And
not that I never pay resale. I just haven't paid resale in a very long time,
yeah,
because it just helps me to kind of like say, okay, well, there's another release coming up, like whatever. It saves me money too. I think what I might do this year is, instead of buying new shoes or exclusively new shoes, I might go back and buy some shoes from the last 1 or 2 years that I didn't manage to get, and save up for those by, selling old ones that I've worn a couple times but don't wear enough, or, um, selling old clothes. Like, if you sell like 3, 4, 5 hoodies on eBay for, 30, 40 euros, that's, then you've got 160 euros, and you can go buy a pair of shoes. So sometimes I do that as well. Kind of selling old stuff and trying to buy new stuff with that money.
yeah, no, no, for sure. But I was just gonna say, you're not the only one. Like I know so many people who have that exact same rule. Like they'll never pay resale for a pair of shoes, and that's honestly like kudos to you guys, because that's a lot of self control. I probably that I
Self-restraint, right?
self
Yeah.
restraint that like I clearly don't have. I mean, like if I had like if I just was able to just accept the fact that I took an L on the neutral grays and just like
Hmm.
forget about it. Like I mean I wish like that was the case, but like I was thinking about it the next day. I was thinking about it the day after. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm buying these. Like
Yeah, but I mean, at the
it,
end of the day, it's like we both said, it's everyone's personal choice. And if
right.
if you're doing this with every single release, then I would say,
No,
yo,
of course
Josh,
not.
like,
Of
you got a
course not,
problem.
dude.
But
Yeah.
if you're doing it, if it's like one release every couple months where you're like, damn, like, I really wanted this one, go ahead. And like you said, your one out, one in, one out rule,
Mm.
means that, you're not amassing sneakers, and you're still kind of controlling how much you spend and how much you bring in and stuff like that. I think that's fine. In the end, everyone needs to decide for themselves. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's tastes are different too, like, buy what you like, wear what you buy, and that's it,
Wherever you buy, that's definitely a key point right there. I think a good topic probably for a future episode would be like ways you can save money when buying sneakers, because there's a lot of different ways you can actually save
Hmm.
money on sneakers.
I mean, you could even buy sneakers worn, like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
just a
no,
couple
that that
times. Like,
that that's one of the
I mean,
top
we'll
ways to
we'll
save
get to
money.
that, but like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you
yeah.
wear a pair of shoes one time, and you could probably, knock 30 to 40% off the value,
Yeah,
and,
no,
like,
absolutely,
depending on the
absolutely.
shoe, obviously, but
I,
then,
I've done that. I've bought 1 or 2 time worn sneakers for
yeah,
way cheaper than retail. So
exactly, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, we will save that for a future episode. For now, let's just kind of get into, for the next 2 weeks, what are some of the hottest sneakers that are going to be dropping. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with an unexpected sneaker. It's the Diadora Mythos 280. I showed you before we started recording, right? It's like this super, for anyone listening, it's this like super futuristic 2000s runner. It came out in 2009. It's got this like silver big hole mesh upper with red accents. It reminds me a lot of the Nike Air Max 97 Silver Bullet. And only 600 pairs of these are releasing worldwide this weekend on Saturday. And if you're into, 2000s runners, kind of stuff that was futuristic back then and still is now, these are definitely for you. I'm a big fan of those.
Wait, did you say 600 pairs worldwide?
Yeah, just 600 pairs. It's like a
That's
special, like,
Wait, that's nuts. That's
yeah, that's
insane.
nothing. Yeah. It's like one retailer stock, basically.
Yeah, 600 is ridiculously low.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
but
I
yeah,
don't
these look
expect them
insane,
to.
man.
Yeah, I don't expect them to resell for a lot, just because it is a bit of a niche brand and a niche shoe, but it's an unexpected shoe. It's kind of like a shoe that you'll wear and people will be like, "Oh, yo, what are those?" But like in the
Hmm.
good way, you know, like,
Hmm.
"Damn, where'd you get those?" So those are really exciting. And then there's a few Yeezy releases coming up. Like you told me about this 700 V3, the blue one. What was it called again?
The
Kyanite.
Kyanite.
Yeah,
Kyanite.
those look really cool. I'm a big fan of the V3. I'm a big fan of all 700s
I
actually.
love the V3, man. Like okay, so my favorite, what's your favorite Yeezy? Not Nike. What's your favorite Adidas Yeezy of all time?
Oh, man, good question. I would have to say probably the oh man, I might have to say like the 1050s, the like the first boots that came out, you know? Those like
Oh, yeah,
oh no,
yeah,
no,
of
not
course.
1050s, 950s. Sorry, the
950s,
950s.
950s,
Oh
950s.
man, just because like
Those
those
were
would have been
sick. Those were
those would have been
sick.
so useful the last couple of weeks when it was snowing here in
Yeah,
Berlin.
yeah, yeah.
So in terms of like ultimate, like that
But
one, just because I
that's
never
a good
got it.
pick.
But then also anything from the 700 range you can give me and I'll wear them and I really like them. What about you?
Yeah. For me, the 700 V1 Wave Runner is my favorite Adidas
Hmm.
Yeezy of all time, and a second, and I would even say a close second, would be the 700 V3, the original colorway, the Azales.
Oh, those
Uh,
are nice too.
yeah, only because like when that shoe first released, it was like it was kind of like a shock moment for everyone because they looked like these alien shoes. Like no one
Hmm.
had ever seen anything that looked like it. It was glow in the dark all over the upper, and they just looked insane. And I was like, I love seeing like anything different, you know. And
Yeah.
Adidas Yeezy brand especially, always giving us new silhouettes every year. That's what I admire a lot about them.
Hmm.
And this particular colorway, the Kyanites, I think is one of the best colorways to release from the V3 line. It looks even better than that other blue V3, which was the Arzareth pair, I think.
Yeah,
This Kyanite pair, I think maybe even the second best colorway we've seen on the V3. So yeah, look out for those.
for sure. Actually, just on the Yeezy point there, like I was talking to a colleague of mine, Tim. Shout out Tim, and I told him I was like, "Yo, I think I'm gonna start wearing Yeezys again." And he was like, "Oh yeah, because they like aren't
Wait,
hyped anymore."
hold up, like 350s?
No, I mean, no, just because those are like still too dead. But I still think that the 350 V2 is a great shoe. I
Yeah.
think it's I think it's a really good shoe. It's just that it's everywhere and it is the new Roshi. I can't wear that one, but I'm probably gonna get maybe a V3 700 and the what's it called, like the Moon Vision or whatever, the 700 MNVN, like the
Oh, okay. No, I didn't see that release, but that's also releasing in the
no,
next
no, it's not
couple.
releasing, but like in the next, I don't know, few months or next year, maybe I'll pick up one like an older colorway or something like that. Maybe I can get a used pair on eBay. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start wearing Yeezys again, you know.
Wait, so you don't wear any other Yeezys?
I have a Wave Runner, but I haven't worn that in over a year. Like I don't
Oh, wow. Okay.
I
Okay. No,
used
I
to have a
mean
lot.
like
I had like the original 750s, like the OG ones that dropped in New
yeah,
York. I had a lot of 350s. I had the Pirate Blacks. I had the Turtle Doves.
you
But
sold all of them.
I wore them all. I wore all of mine, but then I sold them worn
Yeah.
after they sat around for months, and then I decided, you know what, like let someone else have them.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's basically my history with Yeezy.
Yeah. Anything else coming out besides the
No, I mean, I
Yeezys?
think there's a couple of Yeezy Boost 350 V2s, but like I said, those are not really my favorite. So I'd say probably the 700 V3s and that Diadora Mythos are my two like picks for the next few weeks. What about you?
Well, there's a few. Like I would say, like the sneaker I'm most hyped about over the next 2 weeks are the Jordan 4s and the Taupe Haze
Mm,
colorway.
yeah,
Super nice colorway. You know, like very much like it looks like the undefeated fours in a way.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that upper in hand. I've heard a lot of bad things and negative things so far about the upper. So like, about how it kind of like just kind of
It's
flakes
like
away from the
cracked,
shoe.
right? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
we spoke about it last time as well that it's got this interesting, like cracked, flaky kind of leather upper,
yeah.
but the colorway is just really, really great.
Yeah, the colorway is super nice. So I'm definitely hyped on those. Probably one of the nicest Jordan 4s to release this year.
Hmm.
There's also Nike. I don't know if Nike's trying to like put some hype on the Blazers again. or for the first time. It looks like there's a pretty hyped blazer coming out, the Ready Made collab with on the Nike Blazer.
Yeah.
Ready Made is this brand out of Japan, and there's going to be two colorways dropping. And if you guys have already seen pictures of the shoe, it has like a very funky looking swoosh, and apparently this was like the original
So
swoosh
it
logo.
was the swoosh from like 1971 when Nike, I think, became Nike. And they paid, I think, a University of Oregon student like $35 to come up with a logo. And I think I forgot her name, but she drew the swoosh. And I think originally it was like skinny and much longer, like it is on the ready made.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of like a cool insider kind of detail, how they pay homage to OG Nike logos, but
Hmm.
it is a bit of a weird looking swoosh, I must say.
I wonder if they're gonna kind of make that into like a GR pair. Like they're gonna put that on all the Blazers, like this weird looking swoosh.
I think they did it on the Cortez. They had like a skinnier swoosh on the Cortez like
oh
last
yeah,
year.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if you
right,
remember,
right,
like last
yeah.
year, 2 years ago, maybe it was 2019. They've done it before, but it wasn't as extreme as this one. I think the
Mhm.
ready-made one is a lot exact. It's like it's more exaggerated than what it actually looked like in 1971.
Yeah, and I'm particularly not. I wouldn't say I'm like blown away by the shoe. It's definitely interesting looking though. And then there's these. I don't know if you've seen these Jordan One Zoom Comforts yet.
I've seen a
But
couple of them. Yeah.
yeah, it's basically like a brand new model of the Jordan One. I actually managed to get a pair a couple of days ago of those pink ones, the pink glaze,
Oh
and
yeah.
so from just seeing the pair in hand, it is very different than a Jordan 1 from a comfort point of view. It's much more comfortable than a normal
hmm
Jordan 1 because it's very padded on the inside.
Well, I mean, Jordan
The
ones aren't comfortable usually anyway.
Yeah,
Like I have
exactly.
the shadow ones, and I can't wear those without putting in insoles.
Yeah, no, they're I mean, it's a
There's
1985
nothing there.
shoe.
It's like a
Yeah.
tiny layer of air. But yeah, I've heard that the Air Jordan 1 comforts are obviously, I mean, they're called comfort. It
Yeah,
would
they
be
call the
weird if they
comfort,
weren't comfortable.
and they are because the around the ankle flap it's padded and it's made out of felt, so it does kind of wrap around the ankle really well. And the colorways that are coming out specifically, there's going to be this Rust Canyon colorway dropping in the next 2 weeks, which I mean, just from a colorway point of view, this might be like one of the nicest like non OG colorways that I've seen in like the last few years. It's super interesting. We got like some like salmon color with some brown hits, and the material looks to be nubuck and suede. It looks like a super nice shoe. Unfortunately, it looks like it's a woman's release, so probably won't be making them in my size. uh but
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 in my
man,
size,
yeah, you'll be able to get a pair, man. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see those in hand, the Zoom Comfort Rust Canyon.
they look a little bit like those Milano Air Jordan 1 mids. Remember those from a couple of years
the
ago?
the
Was it Milan?
Milanos.
Milan? Yeah, it was a
Oh, the
Milan.
mids, the Milan
The
mids. Yeah,
mids,
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah.
looks a little like that. It goes in that direction with like the terracotta hues and stuff like that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. Right,
you
right,
know.
right.
But yeah, I think I think that kind of wraps it up in terms of releases, right? Unless you had any other ones.
No, that's it for my releases as well. And I think that kind of wraps it up for the pod, right? Like we covered everything.
Yeah, we covered everything. I think we're good in time too.
Yeah,
So
no, so thank you for the listeners. Thank you once again for checking into the pod. And yeah, look out for us on Spotify, Apple Music, and also YouTube. We will be uploading it there. And yeah, much love, man. And don't forget to like if you guys want, we would love to hear your feedback. So hit us up on Instagram or even YouTube if that's the case. However you want to, just hit us up. Let us know your feedback, what you think of the pod. Yeah, really appreciate all the listeners, man. Really appreciate all the feedback from the last few weeks. So yeah, and until next time, I don't know. I guess next time you're gonna be in the Canary Islands when we do this.
I'm gonna be sitting on the beach. You're gonna be hearing waves in the background, and I'm gonna be
Hmm.
drinking a mojito whilst we record this one.
Okay. Okay. No, that sounds great, man. So yeah, man. Until next time, until episode 3. Thank you guys for listening. Take it easy. Peace out.
See you guys.